Okay. So now the next thing I want us to look at should take us less than 15 minutes, and that's called what? Data binding. Data binding. Data binding is a concept of how do we bind your data or variable you have in your in your JavaScript to any HTML or element. Like for example now, I want the data that go to appear in my HTML element to be what? To be dynamic. Like on this particular page now, I want some sort of data that what? It is the data that I have in my HTML page that should appear here. Or if I type something in my HTML page, if I type something in my form, I want data I type in a form to automatically appear in the HTML page. That is concept of data binding. So I can bind the data from script to the to the HTML element. And I can also make what I have in HTML element to also appear in my script. That's why there are two ways to data binding. There's one way data binding, there's two-way data binding. So let's quickly look at at the both of them here now. So returning back to to this view again, I have to close this component here and create another new component to implement that again to make it more easier for us. So I'm opening a new component here, but I'm going to use the one of the previous component we have created, which is the sign up. We want to create something like a form here now. So I create a new here now. I can now say data data binding page. Okay, data binding page dot view. Okay, so I want to use this particular one, the form we use here. Do you get now? Inside this particular sign up page, I select entire code on sign up page and now add that code to to data binding here now. But I'm going to make some correction from those code now. I just need a simple form that I'm going to design something like like the login page. So here now, I call this one data binding here now. That is it, data binding here. So I don't need this particular div for row here. So I'm removing this div for row. Okay, even though I'm removing all these div here now. That's it. So wherever I have all the div will be removed now. These two div, I remove it too. So the next thing is a form for login page now. You get it now. So my login page form will go like this. So I have to move this form close to one. So open form and closing the form tab now. So here now, that's what it is. So right here now, okay, this is my form now. I move it up here. Okay now, so let me create the space here. This enter username here, good. So enter username, no, that should be password. I'm removing the row for username. So I'm removing the code for username here because I have two username here now. So I'm going to remove this again. Okay, so I remove this now. So I want to have only username and password here now. So I don't even need confirm password again, but just a simple form we want to create. So that is it. So this one contain the button. I call the button login now. Login now. Do you get it now? That is it. And one more thing now is it. Outside this particular form here now, I want something like my whatever information I put on this form, I want to bind it to that HTML element. So here now, I can create a div to hold that HTML element like this here now. And that HTML, I want it to be H2 here. So anytime I enter username, you get it now. So I want that username to appear here. And can also make the username to have something like a login. Sorry o. So the login, I mean confirm the login. Is it correct? Is it not correct? Like what you just did in the if by seeing how to use if too. But let us see that our data was binding here now. How data can be bind to this H2 here. Do you get it now? So when we are creating a form, we need a particular variable to pick data of the form and send that data to what? To the HTML section. We call that directive called what? vModel. vModel must specify one, the name you want to use to hold the value, the user type inside this particular username. I can call it what? User name again. You get it now? That is it. Why the same vModel must also be applied to this particular word password. Whatever the password the user type, I want to store it. I'll call it system story word password, maybe WD now. This is where I store the value. Let me call user n here now. User NE. Okay. User NE or user NA. User NE now. User name will store the username you input. Why is password? Don't you store the password you input? Because two information is going to be needed inside my wall, my script section. Then you come to the script section here. Like I told you, I don't need so complex word. The div here. So I'm removing all this particular word style we have here and the image we have and the image we have here now. So I'm removing it. The next thing I'm going to create is CSS to style the form. But let's see how this particular component look like. Let's see how this particular component will look like now. So the next thing I'm going to do here now is this. I will now call the data binding in our view. Remember, that is it. So I return back here and say instead of 4 page again, it will be what? Or data binding. So that is it. I don't want to delete each of this. I want to delete them for reference. So now I comment the section for what? For the 4 page here now. And this will now be what? Data binding page. Data binding page now. So I call this one data binding. Okay, that's the alias name. So therefore, I have to register this name here now to replace 4. Okay, that is one. And 2, I have to use the name here now instead of 4 again. And I save it. I have to save data what binding here. So when I check my once I check my my browser here, you can see the form. But the next thing now is I want us to what? To style this particular form so that form will look much more attractive than this. Please just a minute, sir. Sorry guys. So now, the next we are going to do now is to do what? To style this and make it look a little bit more attractive. So, shut up, I'm taking away. Ó lè bá gbé ni, àbí nǹkan ṣe ẹ́ ni? Ó lè bá gbé tó gbé fóònù kan kó máa fà tó gbé òun ló gbé lọ síbẹ̀. Something wrong with you àbọ̀pọ̀ lọ òṣìṣẹ́ ni. Sórí ẹ pé ṣá, àbúrò ẹ̀ ń gbé wà dẹ̀ bá gbé. Wàá tún sọ́bà sọ ara ẹ̀. Òun mí bìyè bìyè sọ ara ẹ̀. Má torí ẹ̀ fi ẹ gba, má wọ̀rí. Kò pọ̀ tàbí síbí jọ. Sorry there, Jare. So now, to start styling this particular one, page here now. So I just give the label, the simple CSS now. So the label now, so we just say one font or maybe font size. We give you something like a 12 point now. Okay, I think that's all. And later I'll come back. Now say well input type now for the first one element, that is text. We define the CSS rule for it, and that is going to be the width for that should be around 250 pixel. Okay, so while the height make it 35 pixel. Okay, so the same input element I use for this text, I'll use it for the password too. So I can say comma and define input type for what? For password one element too. I'll say password. So I can use the same thing for what? For the button too. I just say input type here button, but button might need some extra word CSS. So let me see how this particular field will change the word appearance now. You can see now. Yes, that's the body might need more again. We get now. I can increase the body button a little bit in terms of the height. So I can come down here and say well input type here and change this one to what? To button here now, and give it some extra work features here. Like say the height for the button now, I want it to be 45. That means only the button height to be different here now. And I want to give the button one the background color now. I can say well background color for the button, that should be ash 009900 now. And also the border, we don't need border for, I want to remove the border. I say none for the button now. And the color for the text, button color for the text should be what? White, that is FFF. And finally I want the text in the button, then go to what? Font size. I want it to be bold again. I say 12 pt or 12 pt. So let me save this and see how this element change now. Can see now, that is it. So even though the width of my button can be a little bit warm, the button width can change, but let it be like this. So these are the button now. So one more for the input type here, I want to add some padding to the left, so that padding left, that should be 10 pixel, because I don't want the message I try to close to the border again here. You can see clicking here, see where information start from. So the binding now is in whatever I type inside there, I want to display inside the H1 here. So let me come to my H1. So I will come down here and put some message in this H2 here by saying user name appear here now. Whatever username I type, I want it to appear here. You get it now. So now for me to display that information inside there, I use this placeholder. You get it now. I'll now see what's the username username, that's it, username. That's why I call username here. Whatever I type for username, I want it to appear inside this location. That's the data binding. Do you get it now? So since I'm using this word v model here, I must define the data section for this v model too to define this variable in my script section. So that take me to here in the script section here and start with what? Export what? Default. Okay, and then the name for the component is called what? Data uh, data binding. Okay, data binding page, but it must be in the what? In this quotation like this. So after that again, I can now define the data section here. Okay, and the placeholder. Then return the value. So variable go to be what? User name is empty now. So I will say no because there's nothing I want to assign to it. Another variable pass w is also what? No. There's nothing I want to assign to it. These are the two variables I'm using now, and that is all. So the moment now I want to call this now, do you get it now? Is username. Once I type username appear inside this h2 here. Do you get it now? So see what happened here now. You cannot see anything here now, but let me type username here. Username is going to be what? Or Adewo. Can you see? Adeleke. That is it. You get now. That's Adeleke. That's username. So if I want this one to appear when I'm just Adelele, when I'm just creating my page here, I can write a CSS for that A2. Do you get it now? I can write CSS for that A2 to show the word side. I can say well H2 here. How many H2 did I have? That's first thing. I have A2 here. Did I have any other A2 again? No. Let me use H1 then, so there can be difference in output. So H1 and also H1 too. And here now I can write CSS for what? For H1 too here. So here again going to be what? The background color. I want background color to be what? To be this. Okay. And I want what? Padding. Padding to surround everything. Maybe I want 35 pixel for all round. Do you get it now? So let me save this and see what I'm talking about. Can you see now? That's what the padding. So that means this is where the word, whatever username I type is going to appear now. So here now I say username is going to be what? From me. Can you see? So let me change the color of that one to what? To white now. I say color. Okay, color. Column what? White. That's be good now. So you can see now. So when I say what? Username, like the data binding mean what? Once I type something in the what? HTML page here, system is binding it to this another element through what? The JavaScript. So moment I come down here and now say what? Funmilayo. Can you see now? Funmilayo now. You can see the data here through the Java. That's data word binding. Though I didn't bind the password, that's why it didn't show. If I want password to be there, it's still possible. You get it now? That is it. So now, I want us to now implement something like what? When I click on the button, I want system to perform something like what? Comparison with this password. Do you get it now? So then we'll stop for today now. So I have to create a section called what? Add event to this button, so that one click on that button, inside can perform some kind of checking the value I type. To do that again, I'm going to use what we call V for event. Call it V on click. V on click event like this. When I say V on click event, I'll say get what? Get login. Get login is the one, is the event I want to create, so that I can write a code using the if statement we just learned again, the last class again. So I copy this login, but in the section here, in the script section here, I will now define the section for implementing for defining that login, and that section is called what? Methods. You get now column like this. In this section, I now define what? the get login method. I say get what get login undo, sorry, get what login function. Now that is it. I say get login function. So which means that when user click on this button get login, system will come and execute the code in this get login. For me to use username here, I will now say this dot user n. Do you get it now? This dot user n. That is it. This dot user n. Do you get it now? I want to use something like validation. Do you get it now? I think so. This dot user n and okay. So in this case, I cannot use this one again. Okay. I think I can now create another variable and go to hold the feedback here. I call this one feedback here now. Okay, feedback column null again. You get it now? So this feedback is going to be inside this one h here now. This I want the feedback to appear. Good. So I'll now say okay, I'll use the if statement here now. Good. I say if, can you see, if now this dot user one name equal to admin. That's like a login now. You get now? I want system to say congratulations now. Do you get it now? Congratulations that username. I will now put a code here by okay, that's the code I'm going to put for if the if statement is true. Do you get it now? I will now say this inside there, it will be this dot feedback. That's what I want the result to be equal to the message is going to be congratulations. Do you get it now? Okay, welcome. Let's say welcome. Yeah, to do welcome. Do you get now? Plus this does username here. Can you see now? So whatever username we input, system will display welcome with that person. As I click on save here and I see this one now. Remember I say username is admin, but username is Peter here now. System will not tell us anything. When I say username now, and I say admin, let's what happen. Can you see? Welcome admin. But what if I want them to tell me username is wrong? Then I will return back here. I will now say else. Do you get it now? I will say else here. So the else here is message system go to return. So something like this can also be copy here and push back here again. Here now. And this is going to be sorry, you say access denied. Access denied there now, and the username go to show again. So let me save this page and see what happened here again. So I say article and I click on okay, let me say password and I click on login. Sorry, access denied article. If I come down here and I say admin here now, I click on login, welcome admin. So this is how data binding work with our if statement. So we stop here now again, and tomorrow again we'll still we'll move to another topic on this particular session again. So any question now asked? I'll also make sure okay, yes, I'll upload this video tonight too so that I can have access to it before tomorrow. So that will be all for today. Yeah? Yes, yeah, I'll upload on YouTube. So that. But it will take almost a month before I would remove it there. So that's why I leave it for for as long as possible so that everybody can download it at their own convenient time. Okay, so thank you for today. See tomorrow. I'll send a message to you before tomorrow class. Thank you.